I sat across from Emma in that little cafe, trying to make my coffee last longer than the conversation. "So, this is it then?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. She nodded, lips curved into that calm, almost too perfect smile. "Yeah, I think it's better this way." I swallowed. "Better how?" "Better for both of us," she said softly, eyes flicking to the window. "We've been holding on to something that's already faded." I nodded, though a knot formed in my stomach. "I guess I just thought, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't gone. I thought we could try." Emma reached across the table, her hand brushing mine lightly. "I've thought about it too," she said. "But it's not about trying harder. It's about knowing when to let go." I looked at her fingers on mine. They lingered, almost hesitant. Almost wrong. My voice stayed calm, but inside I felt the tremor. "So, no hard feelings?" "No hard feelings," she echoed, but her eyes betrayed her, glancing at mine just a moment too long before darting away. I wanted to ask the question I didn't dare. "Do you still want me?" But I swallowed it down, as I always did. Silence felt safer than confrontation. "Promise we'll stay respectful?" I said instead, forcing a lightness that didn't exist. "I promise," she said, smiling again, a little too sweetly, a little too calm. There was a pause, a moment heavy with everything we weren't saying. I caught a flash, her nostrils flaring slightly, her fingers tapping the rim of the coffee cup. Subtle, almost invisible, but it hit me. The attraction hadn't gone anywhere. It was quiet, simmering, waiting. "So, this is final," I said, finally, trying to mean it. Emma nodded, shoulders relaxing like she'd been carrying a secret weight. "Final," she whispered. I forced a grin. "Then I guess, see you around?" "Yes, see you," she said, and she stood, straightened her coat, and walked toward the door. Her hair caught the light, and for a second I almost called her back. But I didn't. I stayed seated, watching her leave, listening to the bell above the door jingle softly. My chest felt tight, but I told myself it was just the coffee, just the weather, just the end of something that had to end. Ryan would have said I was too quiet, too controlled, but I always believed calm was strength. Silence, my shield. I never liked chaos. Not in arguments, not in love, not in goodbyes. I finished the last sip of coffee, set down the cup, and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Then I walked out. Step by step, I felt the familiar mix of relief and emptiness swirl inside me. Freedom tasted like ash in my mouth, but I told myself I'd survive. Yet as I reached the street, as the wind brushed my face, a whisper crawled into my mind. "Something's missing. Something you didn't see." I shook it off. I didn't need it. I was free. But the moment lingered longer than I expected, and for the first time in weeks, I felt my own pulse like a warning. Calm had lied. And the truth, whatever it was still there, hidden in the spaces between us. I walked away, shoulders squared, chest hollow, pretending I didn't feel the tug, the pull, the quiet heat that hadn't left, no matter how hard I tried to believe it had. My phone buzzed again. Emma. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the message. "Did you check the cafe we liked? They finally have that chocolate cake." I typed nothing. I told myself it was harmless, just a friendly note. Yet my chest tightened before my mind could catch up. I heard Ryan's voice behind me. "Texting her again?" I jumped. "Ryan, didn't see you." He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You need a reality check. Clean breakups don't have aftershocks." I laughed, but it felt hollow. "Aftershocks are optional. I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're answering her texts in your head before you hit send." I didn't respond because he was right. Later that day, I ran into her by accident, or maybe not. She was at the bookstore pretending to browse the poetry section. "Hey," she said casually, like we hadn't shattered each other's worlds 2 weeks ago. "Hey," I said, voice flat. "You found a new coffee place yet?" she asked, tilting her head. Her hair fell over her shoulders, soft, effortless. I swallowed. "Not yet. Been busy." Her lips curved. "Busy, huh? Doing what?" "Stuff. Work. Life." I avoided her gaze. Emma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. They flicked at me, lingering just long enough to stir something I didn't want to feel. "I ran into Liam yesterday. He mentioned your project. He thinks you're doing great." "Thanks," I said. Simple. Controlled. She nodded. "I'm glad. I really am." Her voice softened. And yet, her body leaned slightly closer than necessary. The warmth of her presence was dangerous. Afterwards, I met Ryan at our usual bar. "She's sneaky," he said, sliding a drink my way. "Sneaky?" "She's close enough to make you react. Far enough to pretend it's nothing." I took a sip. "I don't want to react." "You already are," he said, voice low. "I've seen you tense up every time your phone buzzes. Admit it, she still matters." "I told myself it's just old habits," I said. Ryan shook his head. "Old habits have consequences. You're caught between hope and self-respect. You need to choose one before she chooses for you." I nodded because he was right again. I hated that he was always right. That night I went home early thinking a walk might clear my head. I passed the park near her apartment and froze. Her laughter floated into the air, lilting, carefree, almost musical. I paused. She was on the phone. "Really?" I heard her giggle. "You did that?" Her voice light, playful. Not like the Emma I knew with me. Not serious, not careful, free. My stomach twisted. I wanted to turn away, pretend I didn't hear. But I couldn't. The sound clung to my chest, clashing with the calm I'd tried to build. She hung up and leaned against the railing, smiling at nothing. I stayed hidden, heart pounding. The distance we'd tried to enforce had collapsed. She was close again, emotionally unguarded, and I realized I was still tethered to her by invisible threads. Ryan's words echoed in my head, caught between hope and self-respect. I walked away slowly, not ready to face her, not ready to answer the question my body had already asked, and yet I couldn't stop thinking about that laugh, the laugh she never gave me, but now used so effortlessly with someone else. It wasn't just a laugh. It was a reminder. The attraction didn't follow instructions. I clenched my fists, trying to reclaim the calm I thought I'd found. But deep down, I knew that distance was only a word, and some distances were impossible to keep. I was refilling my mug at work when Liam leaned against the counter beside me. "Man, relationships are messy," he said casually. I forced a smile. "Depends on the people." He laughed. "True, the girl I was seeing? Emma? Sweet but indecisive." My hand froze. "Emma?" I asked, too calmly. "Yeah," he said, clueless. "You know her?" "Not really," I lied. He shrugged. "Figures." "She said she just got out of something serious. Didn't want labels yet. Said she needed options." Options. The word hit like a punch I didn't see coming. "Options?" I repeated. "Yeah," Liam said. "She said she didn't cheat. Just moved on early." Her words. My chest tightened. Memories rewound themselves without mercy. Her calm smile, her steady voice. The way she said love had faded. I nodded slowly. "Sounds honest." Liam smirked. "Honest enough to sleep at night." I didn't answer. I walked away before my face betrayed me. That evening, Emma called. "You sound distant lately," she said lightly. "I'm busy," I replied. "With what?" Processing, I said. She paused. That sounds dramatic. Is it? She sighed. What's wrong? I exhaled. I ran into Liam. Silence stretched. Oh, she said. He told me things, I continued, about you, about why we ended. Her tone stayed smooth. I didn't cheat. I didn't say you did. But that's what this is about, right? She said. I was careful. I never crossed a line while we were together. I clenched my jaw. You crossed something. Don't turn this into a moral trial, she said calmly. I ended things before exploring anything else. That matters. So love didn't fade, I said. You just wanted choices. She hesitated, then answered softly. I wanted clarity. By keeping doors open, I said. That's not fair, she replied. What part is unfair? She inhaled slowly. You're framing this like betrayal. It wasn't. I was honest with myself. And with me? I told you the relationship wasn't working. You told me it faded, I said. It did, she insisted, just not all at once. Her logic slid into me like ice. So I was, a placeholder? That's dramatic, she said. Why are you doing this? Because now everything makes sense, I replied quietly. You're calm. You're relief. She softened her voice. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, I said. She sighed again. I thought you'd understand. You're rational. That stung more than anger would have. So my silence made this easier for you. She didn't deny it. I didn't explode, I said slowly. I didn't beg. I didn't accuse. And that's why I respected you, she said. Respect shouldn't feel like this, I replied. She lowered her voice. What do you want me to say? I don't know anymore, I admitted. We hung up without resolution. I sat alone, replaying every conversation we'd ever had, hearing the pauses differently now. The truth hadn't arrived loudly. It slipped in sideways, carrying a smile. I realized something then. If I stayed, I'd keep absorbing explanations until I forgot my own boundaries. So I made a decision I didn't announce. I stopped replying. No goodbye, no clarity, just silence. For the first time, disappearing felt like honesty. I didn't reply. Not to texts, not to calls, not to the little ping that told me Emma was thinking of me. Silence became my only answer. Days later, my phone buzzed again. Why aren't you answering? I left it. I told myself she didn't need me. Not anymore. At the office, Maya noticed first. She approached my desk quietly. You look different, she said. I shrugged. Trying something new. Working late again? She asked. Yeah, I muttered. Deadlines. She didn't pry, just nodded, then asked, Want some coffee? Sure. We walked to the break room. She didn't comment on Emma. Didn't ask. She just listened when I muttered about projects, frustrations, little complaints about life. I realized I hadn't had someone listen like this in months. You're changing, Maya said quietly. I guess, I said, trying to survive. She tilted her head. Not revenge? I laughed softly. No, not revenge. Just living. After she left, I stayed at my desk, typing reports, adjusting routines. Workouts after work, longer walks, better meals. The reflection in the mirror slowly stopped looking like a man broken by absence and started looking like someone rebuilding. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Emma. I didn't look. She kept trying, each note more confused than the last. Are you ignoring me? I don't understand. We can talk, right? I didn't respond. I told myself silence would teach her more than words ever could. Lunch one day, Ryan called. Still ghosting her? I am, I said. You're not being cruel, right? I'm being honest. I'm not explaining myself. That's cold, he said. Not cold, I said. Necessary. Maya popped her head in again. You okay? I looked at her. Better than okay. Quiet. Quiet can be loud, she said. Don't lose yourself in it. I nodded. She left, but her words stayed. I thought about guilt, about pride, about every little pang that surfaced when I ignored Emma's texts. I didn't want her punished. I just didn't want to save her from the consequences of her choices. Emma's last message came late at night. I stared at the screen before reading it. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I let it sit. I didn't type a response, didn't delete it. Just let it exist. A small echo of everything that had happened. Silence became my revenge in the only way it could. By showing her absence meant more than confrontation, that disappearance spoke louder than anger. I glanced at my reflection in the dark window. The man staring back wasn't broken. He was cautious, aware, careful with his choices. He wasn't punishing her, wasn't hurting for sport. He was surviving. The text sat there, unread, unanswered, and for the first time I realized letting go could be stronger than holding on. Silence hurt more than shouting. It was cleaner, sharper, true. And when I finally stood to leave, Maya's words echoed softly in my mind. Don't lose yourself in it. I walked out of the office feeling lighter. I didn't need to explain, didn't need to fight. Emma would figure it out. Or not. Either way, I was moving forward. I didn't expect to see her, not in person, not now. She appeared outside the cafe where I usually took my lunch. Her hair was messy, her eyes a little too bright, a little too desperate. She saw me and froze. Hey, she said softly. Hey, I replied, keeping my tone steady. She shifted, hands twisting together. I missed you. I blinked. Missed me? Not love, just safety, she said, words tumbling out. I missed having someone steady. I let that hang. My body reacted before my mind did. The tightness in my chest, the quickening pulse. But I didn't let it control me. I was no longer hers to pull. You're calm, she said, taking a step closer, like nothing happened. I'm calm because I've learned to be, I said quietly. I've learned what I need. Her lips parted and she almost said something, then closed them. I thought maybe we could talk, like before. I shook my head slightly. Talking doesn't change what's gone. She frowned. I didn't know you could leave so completely. I left, I said. You just never expected me to do it for real. Her eyes lowered. She looked fragile and confused, and yet the pull between us, something I hadn't felt in weeks, throbbed clearly. Attraction didn't die with distance. It waited. I made mistakes, she whispered. I should have. Don't, I said calmly. You don't get to rewrite your choices now. I'm not here for excuses. She opened her mouth, then paused, looking for a different approach. I regret some of it, she admitted. Some? I raised an eyebrow. I don't know. Some? Enough to say I miss what we had, she said, stumbling over the words. I studied her quietly, calmly, controlled. The power dynamic had shifted. I wasn't scrambling for her approval, not longing for her warmth. I wasn't hers to manipulate anymore. You don't get it, I said softly. Missing me doesn't give you access. She flinched slightly but didn't argue. Instead, she let the silence grow, uncomfortable, revealing her hesitation. Later I met Maya for coffee. She smiled at me and asked, "How's it going?" "Better," I said. "I'm grounded." She nodded. "That's good. Not everything has to be dramatic to matter." Exactly. Maya was slow, honest, steady. She didn't chase, didn't manipulate. She just listened, just existed. and I noticed how calming that was. Ryan called that evening. Emma tried showing up? I nodded. Yeah. He laughed softly. She doesn't want connection. She wants control. That's true, I admitted. She wants me where she can reach, not where we're equal. Exactly. Don't fall into her trap, he warned. I promised myself I wouldn't. The next day, Emma appeared again, waiting near my office as if she had rehearsed her lines. I just wanted to see you, she said, voice soft but urgent. I saw you, I replied. I understand. Her hand twitched and she looked at me, eyes wide. Do you still... I shook my head gently. No, not like before. She exhaled, shoulders slumping. I thought attraction could undo everything. I smiled faintly, calm. It can't. Some doors don't reopen with desire alone. She stared at me a moment longer, then finally let the weight of reality settle. I turned, walking away with steady steps. Her gaze followed me, and for the first time I knew she realized desire wasn't enough. She couldn't reclaim what I'd already claimed for myself, clarity, control, and freedom. I heard it first through whispers at work. Liam had left her side. No fanfare, no drama, just quiet disappearance. I didn't react aloud. I listened. People talked about Emma's confidence cracking, her friends drifting away. I stayed calm, observed. No gloating, just noticing. Ryan called me that afternoon. So, she's unraveling? Seems like it, I said. Doesn't that feel satisfying? I shook my head even though he couldn't see me. Not really. Strange, isn't it? To win without fighting. He was silent for a moment. Yeah, that's weird. It was? Watching her stumble without me intervening felt unnatural. I wasn't used to power arriving silently. I kept checking my phone, expecting a message, a call, a text laced with guilt or pride. Nothing. Later, Emma called. My phone rang late at night. I hesitated, thumb hovering, then answered. Hi, she whispered. Emma, I said quietly. I don't know what I expected, she said, her voice shaking. I'm scared. Scared of what? Everything. Losing people, losing control, losing me, she admitted, sobbing softly. I stayed silent. Compassion stirred inside me, but desire, attachment, none. I felt the pull of humanity, not of longing. I messed up, she said. I didn't realize. You're realizing now, I said gently. That's all you need to do. She sniffled. I don't know if I can fix things. You don't have to, I replied. Not everything is fixable. Some things just are. Her silence followed, punctuated by hiccups and shaky breaths. I resisted the urge to comfort beyond words. No advice, no promises, no false hope. Why aren't you angry? She asked finally. I was angry before, I said. But anger doesn't help me anymore. It just keeps me tied to you. Do you forgive me? I paused. My mind swirled. Forgiveness didn't have to mean returning. It didn't have to mean letting her in again. I forgive you, I said finally. But that doesn't change our distance. Her voice cracked. I wish I could have done it differently. I know, I said quietly. I hear you. We hung up without further conversation. No promises, no resolutions, just a quiet acknowledgement of mistakes and learning. I lay awake afterward, turning over every detail. Compassion wrestled with old attachment, but clarity settled in. I could forgive and still protect myself. I didn't need to recycle the past to find peace. Ryan texted, So? Did you help her karma along? I laughed softly, typing back, Karma doesn't need me. It was strange to feel satisfaction without action. No confrontation, no revenge, no speeches, just awareness. The scales had balanced quietly, naturally. I reflected on myself, how I had grown, calm, measured, unshaken. Watching someone face the consequences of their own choices without my interference felt freeing, and then the thought settled inside me like a stone in a stream. I didn't need closure from her. I didn't need recognition. I needed my own peace. I turned off my phone and lay back, chest unclenching for the first time in weeks. The past was no longer a tug on my soul. Emma's fear, her regret, her unraveling, all of it was hers to process. And I was free. Free to exist without reacting, without rescuing, without being haunted by her choices. Karma had done its work. I didn't need to intervene. I could rest. For the first time, I chose peace over emotional recycling. Her message appeared on my phone like a warning. Can we meet one last time? I stared at it, thumb hovering. One last time. I knew what it meant. I didn't respond immediately. When I saw her at the cafe, she looked smaller than I remembered, shoulders tense, eyes searching mine. I wanted to apologize, she said, voice low but steady. For what? I asked. For underestimating you, she said. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I thought you'd come running back eventually. I swallowed. The old spark, the dangerous pull, flared briefly in my chest. My hands tightened around my coffee cup. I wasn't perfect either, I admitted. I avoided conflict. I let convenience guide my choices. I didn't fight when I should have. I let silence carry us apart. She looked at me, eyes softening. I see that now. I didn't realize. I thought I controlled things, thought I understood you. And you didn't, I said quietly. Not fully. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean to hurt you. I know, I said. My voice remained calm, but inside, every nerve burned with the pull of attraction. She leaned slightly closer, and for a moment my body wanted to give in. Do you still... She started, then stopped, biting her lip. I shook my head gently. No, not like before. She exhaled sharply, a mix of relief and frustration. You're so calm, like nothing affects you. Not nothing, I said softly. I've learned what matters. I've learned where to draw lines. Her gaze dropped, then lifted slowly. I thought, if I apologized, if I showed up, maybe we could start over. I shook my head. Some doors don't reopen, Emma. Some patterns can't be broken by desire alone. Her hands tightened into fists on the table. So this is it? This is it, I said firmly, though my chest ached. The loneliness of growth hit me more than I expected. Familiarity would have been easier. Familiarity would have been warm, soft, safe. Growth was sharp, cautious, uncomfortable, but necessary. She leaned back, silent, eyes glistening. I thought I could fix it. Fix us. You can't fix what's already been broken by choice, I said. Her body slumped, not from loss of me, but loss of control. That was the truth I'd finally seen. She wanted power, not partnership. I don't know how to handle this, she whispered. Handle it yourself, I said quietly. I can't be the crutch anymore. Her gaze lingered, searching for any hint of weakness, but I didn't offer one. My resolve was steady, my voice was calm, my choice was final. She exhaled, a mixture of despair and resignation. I never thought I'd see you walk away like this. I nodded, letting the weight of the moment settle. It cost me comfort, I admitted to myself silently, but it saved my future. I stood, smoothing my coat. Take care of yourself, Emma, I said. She didn't respond immediately, just watched me go. Her lips parted slightly, eyes following me as I walked away, and for a fleeting second, the pull of old attraction whispered, soft and dangerous. I ignored it. My steps were steady. My chest still ached from desire and regret, but my mind was clear. I was free. For the first time in months, I understood that growth demanded sacrifice. Comfort could wait, familiarity was gone, and I was stronger for it. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. She had finally realized desire alone could not bend someone's will, nor reopen doors they had chosen to close. I walked into the sunlight outside, letting it hit my face, feeling the cost of this decision settle alongside its clarity. The moment was heavy, but necessary, and I kept walking, knowing that leaving was not loss, it was survival. Days turned into weeks. I stopped noticing when my phone buzzed, and when it did, it wasn't Emma. It was Maya, Ryan, work notifications, life moving steadily, predictably. One afternoon, Maya smiled as we walked to the coffee machine. "You seem lighter." I laughed softly. "I guess I am. Feels strange." "Strange good or strange bad?" "Strange good," I said. "Like I'm finally me without trying to please anyone else." She nodded, sipping her coffee. "I like that you're calm. Not tense, not on edge." "Yeah," I said, thinking about how far I'd come, how I no longer twisted at every memory, every message, every absence. My chest was lighter, my mind quieter. I realized healing wasn't dramatic. It was consistent. Slow, steady, invisible to anyone who wasn't paying attention. At lunch, Ryan teased me. "You walk different. You carry yourself like you own the world now." "Maybe I just stopped carrying someone else's weight," I replied. He grinned. "That's progress." Evenings were quieter now. I stopped looking at my phone for hints of Emma's presence. I didn't check for her texts, didn't scroll for her name. She existed only in memory, and those memories no longer burned. They were just pieces of history. Maya noticed my routines changing. "You're taking better care of yourself," she said. "Not just physically, emotionally too?" I nodded. "Yeah, I'm learning what I actually need." She smiled softly. "And you're letting yourself have it." It wasn't sudden. It wasn't a fireworks kind of transformation. It was mornings spent walking, workouts that drained but steadied me, dinners without anxiety, conversations with Maya that didn't twist into emotional knots. Every choice was deliberate, every boundary respected, every thought examined. I reflected on how attraction once ruled me. Emma's smile, her voice, her closeness, they were like gravity. I let them pull me wherever she wanted. Now discipline replaced obsession, awareness replaced longing. I could feel desire without letting it dictate my actions. I could want without needing. One evening, Maya asked quietly, "Do you miss her?" I considered it, then shook my head. "No, not like before. I remember her, but I don't feel tied to her anymore. That pull, it's gone." She smiled, a simple, honest smile. "I think you've grown." "Feels like it," I said, taking a deep breath. "Feels like I'm finally living in my own rhythm, not reacting to someone else's." I realized I could enjoy her company without intensity, without manipulation, without fear. We were close, steady, real. She listened more than she spoke. She was calm. I was calm. That consistency felt better than any thrill, better than any chase. Ryan texted later that night, "You're different, lighter, not angry, not needy, just present." I smiled at the message, realizing he was right. I had stopped reacting. I had stopped waiting for apologies, waiting for closure, waiting for Emma to teach me lessons I had already learned myself. I didn't check my phone for Emma's name. I didn't expect her to reach out. I didn't want her to. She had her life. I had mine. The past was a book I had read, and now it rested quietly on the shelf. Discipline replaced obsession. Awareness replaced longing. Healing wasn't dramatic. It was habitual, consistent, and entirely mine. And for the first time, I understood that peace didn't need fireworks. Peace didn't need apologies. Peace was steady, calm, and unshakable. I closed my laptop, looked out the window, and smiled quietly. I had become someone Emma couldn't reach. Not through desire, not through regret, not through manipulation. I was free. I sat on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching the city move below. Funny how we broke up calmly, yet attraction turned everything into chaos. Not because of her. Not even because of me. But because I let it. Maya called earlier. You seem lighter. I am, I admitted. I finally feel steady. That's rare, she said softly. I smiled. Feels rare, but it's real. I thought about Emma, about how her calm smile, her gentle touch had once ruled me, how desire had pulled me into silence, confusion, hope, and frustration, how I'd tried to reconcile my own attachment with the reality of her choices. You were in love with her, Ryan had said months ago. Yes, I whispered to myself. But I wasn't in love with the right version of her. I was in love with my idea of her, the version that never existed outside my head. I leaned back, closing my eyes for a moment. Anger? None. Bitterness? None. Just understanding. I saw now that Emma had taught me what love isn't. She had taught me how easily attraction can masquerade as connection, how desire can confuse clarity, and I had taught myself what strength looks like. Not rage, not revenge, not control, just calm, deliberate choices. Boundaries I didn't cross. Pulls I didn't yield to. Respect for myself that no one could take away. I picked up my phone, scrolling past her name without a flicker of curiosity. It was just a name now, a memory that belonged in a chapter, not in my present. I typed a message to Maya. See you tomorrow? She replied instantly, cheerful and unforced. That's what connection looked like when it was healthy, consistent, and mutual. I smiled. That was the real lesson. Emotional turbulence isn't love. It's attachment, desire, habit. Clarity isn't coldness. It's freedom. The irony struck me again. We broke up calmly, but the chaos came later because I allowed it. I let my attraction dictate my choices. I let my attachment rewrite my calm. I let silence, distance, and desire fight each other inside me. And now, none of that had power anymore. Maya noticed the change. Ryan noticed the change. I noticed the change. I was different, not hardened, not closed off, just present. A text from Ryan popped up. Finally unshackled, huh? Yes, I typed back. And it feels like breathing for the first time in months. I thought about the nights I'd stayed awake, spinning scenarios, imagining confrontations, imagining apologies, imagining returns. None of that mattered now. My clarity had replaced obsession. My calm had replaced chaos. My freedom had replaced attachment. Emma would exist in stories I told myself quietly, lessons learned, memories respected, but no longer active in my heart. I could think of her and not flinch, not hope, not ache. I could see her mistakes without reliving them, see my own flaws without self-punishment. I took a sip of coffee, the warmth grounding me. Calm wasn't absence of emotion. It was mastery of it. Desire was no longer a tether. Attraction no longer a chain. I could feel it, recognize it, and move past it without hesitation. I looked out at the city again, sunlight reflecting off glass and steel. I had a future built on clarity, not confusion. I had learned lessons the hard way, but I carried them proudly, quietly, calmly. No one had to apologize. No one had to explain. No one had to fix anything. I had fixed myself. And in that stillness, I realized something vital. Peace was not given. It was chosen, repeated, defended. And now, I could finally breathe freely, walk confidently, and live deliberately. The calm this time wasn't a lie, wasn't a temporary shield. It was real. I smiled quietly to myself. I was free.